almost got it. Ha! Don't forget to subscribe. Hiya buds, my name is Ersalin, you can call me Ursa, and today we're going to be working on another commission. This one, a kind of a custom thing, but also like not. Only custom because there was no given references, so I had to make my own. This is the text that I was given. It's a vaguely man-shaped structure with the parts that Andrew infected. The body contained animatronic parts formed in a haywire-ish way, with each part misplaced. It has 2 bunny ears and 2 gaping black holes as eyes. It stood near 15 foot tall. While the hybrid lacks the remains of the Stitchwraith endoskeleton, having ejected it from its own body, it contains the limbs and circuitry of 3 animatronics in a disorganized fusion. It can be assumed that Fetch, Foxy, and Plushtrap are the 3 animatronics that comprise the Miscreation's parts. Now, when I first saw this, I was like, first of all, how are any Plushtrap parts going to be anywhere near 15 foot tall? I decided that that doesn't make sense, so I just incorporated the textures anyway. You can see in my initial sketch on the right there that I sort of just hobbled together a whole bunch of different parts. It kind of looks like a Frankenstein's monster, but Afton's monster, I guess. I haven't read the books, sorry. If you're here because you want book commentary, first of all, this is a speed paint of me making the character. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm sure someone in the comments will be helpful and let us know exactly where this miscreation came from, but as for today, I'm just working with what I was given. So we were told that it is part of Fetch, Foxy, and Plushtrap. So I took references that from those existing characters, and in my initial sketch I'm like, okay, so we'll do half of the faceplate is Fetch, half of the faceplate is Foxy, and that'll be that top right part there. And then the bottom half of the right jaw is just going to be endoskeleton, to kind of underline that, hey, this is just a whole bunch of mishmashing parts. This thing is 15 foot tall, guys. Can you imagine? I mean, even just looking at my little sketch in the corner, right? Having that stared down at you from that height would be terrifying. I'm not sure if the scale was used in the video that this was used for. I've got no idea. But if it was, and like a Minecraft skin is looking down at you from that massive height, I think that would be kind of scary in its own right. But anyway, in the actual recording here, I'm going in, I'm picking out my colors, putting down where everything's going to be, because my sketch was really quick. I didn't want to color it, that's why it's just in black and white and very, very sketchy. Honestly, through all of this, I've just learned that drawing animatronics is fun. And I don't do it often enough, so when I get the chance to make a kind of custom thing like this where I have to make a sketch of it, it's a lot of fun. Anyway, I'm just starting on the eyes now. It specifically said in the excerpt that they were just, you know, gaping black holes. They didn't have anything to them, so I didn't have to draw any exposed endoskeleton parts. I didn't have to add in the eyes or worry about eye shine or anything, but I wanted to still make them look interesting. So at first I go in, I'm like, okay, maybe some cracks to show that it's broken pieces that have been mishmashed together. Maybe the eyes sort of sink in with this effect. I went back and changed it later. I didn't like the fuzzy look part of the eyes, but I left it for a little bit just to decide if I liked it or not, and I started on the sharp and pointy teeth. Again, I was checking my Fetch reference for that side of the skin, and then since the other side is supposed to be something similar to Plushtrap and Foxy, I decided to make the teeth more jagged and straight to show that it's from a different animatronic. Although I don't know what Plushtrap jaw in existence would be that large, I decided to go with it anyway. And I think it works. It shows that it's from a different part set anyway. Then I go in and I start shading everything, trying to sculpt the shapes to show that they're a little bit three-dimensional, and hopefully get some more of that very odd, like, face shape that Fetch has. I think it's a bit too shiny, but I go over it with textures later, and here I'm playing with the eyes and the shapes to make it more, I don't know what you would, like, what the term is for it, but just to make it look more close, like it's more symmetrical or whatever. I play with some texturing here to see if it would look right. I added, like, I have a bushes brush that kind of adds different textures and fluffiness to it, and I used a flat brush to make it look like scratches. The bushes brush I use a lot to make the animatronics look like they have wear and tear on them, because it adds a bit of an overlapping texture that can make it look dirty and old. And these characters, or at least this one, is just gross and grody, and I kind of wanted to show that. So I just go in and I start layering up on the different layers of muck and grime and years of kids' pizza that's slapped them in the face, I don't know. And all sorts of stuff like that, trying to make it look awful. And then I went in, and this part actually made it look really cool, is I added some shine to the areas that are like lifted up a bit. And I added a bit of dimension just by adding in some white spaces like in between the cracks. I was quite pleased with how that turned out. You see, it's actually starting to take on quite a bit of shape just from the little bit of shading that I did. And then I go in, and this is a separate layer behind it that will go on the actual like face layer instead of the overpaint. And you can see I drew those blue lines. That's my guide, so that I can take the faceplate and move it over and still have everything line up completely correctly. That's something that took me a while to learn, because I could never get the faceplate to line up, or like the fringe, because like on a human character, that red square is where the like where your bangs would be, basically. And on a Minecraft character, they need to have some sort of bang, or they're just going to be square. Like more square than normal. And then I just started to go in and block in my colors. Every now and then I'll go back and reference my original sketch, but I kind of just eyeballed it. I knew approximately where I wanted all of the different parts to fit together. I'm layering different things and trying to make it look like... Again, I'm not sure how the plush trap parts are going to be that big, but I mean, the text specifically called for it, so I was like, alright, sure, if that's what you want, we'll go for it. So maybe they just had a very large plush trap that they could use when putting together this monstrosity. Or maybe it's just, it really should just be like a little tiny ear sticking out of the chest plate or something, but I wasn't about to do that because it would look super weird on a Minecraft character. Not that this thing isn't already looking super weird. I mean, I've got metal staples sticking out of it for whatever reason, but it comes together in the end, okay? Trust the process. I really feel like I'm talking down my own art here, and I'm not trying to do that, because this actually turned out pretty cool. Oh, and this is something that I added on, instead of making the arm a complete solid arm, I was like, you know, I can make it where the arm's been ripped off totally, and it just has wires hanging out and exposed electronics and circuitry. Same thing with the chest plate here. I'm going to add a few gaping areas where you can see through to the wiring. Those are always really fun to add because it can add a bit of depth to the Minecraft skin. Yeah, I'm already getting tired of talking. We're 10 minutes in. But I just made it a new layer and made it to where I can draw on top of it, added some shading in, and it's already starting to get a little bit of 3D-ness to it. I know it looks like a mess right now because for as many times as I've looked at these skin maps, they still don't make a whole lot of sense when they're all laid out like this. So if you want to get a little bit more familiar with the way that Minecraft skins work, I have a couple tutorials on my channel that show you the entire process and some of the tips and tricks that I use. This one is not a tutorial, it's just a speed paint, so you probably won't learn anything specific from this. But if you're here for the company, then that's fine too. How are you doing today? I'm talking a lot more about the process of this than other random things because the process for this is a bit more unusual than my normal stuff. I'm just going in now and texturing everything, adding scratch marks and shadows and mold, not mold. I could have added mold. I probably should have added mold. That would have been really fun. But I'm just adding texturing now. The plush trap skin that I made in the past for my series was like shredded up and scratched and because it's really hard to recreate the exact texture with just drawing, so I think this gets close enough. Because if you look at the skin, like Scott's actual character model, it's got a very odd texture. It's just a whole bunch of little cracks, like the tiniest little cracks all across the surface. And while I probably could have taken the texture off of something, I prefer to make it. Because, you know, overly texturing things in Minecraft don't always turn out great in my experience. Oh, and this is something fun too. I don't usually get to play with these layers, but because of how mishmashy and crazy the skin is supposed to be, I went in and I started adding wiring and cables and the quote-unquote junk that would be on this character. I flip things around, I stretch them, I add more, and these are going to be the floating layer that floats around the torso and the right arm, or the left arm. The left arm. This is on the bottom. So it floats around the arm and the, or actually that might be the leg. Oh my gosh, I'm confusing myself. I knew what I was doing at the time, okay? That's the important part. The only real point is that it is a mess. It's a mess, it looks like a mess, and it's probably not going to come together until I show it to you on the character. So let me go ahead and grab that while this is going, and I'll get that set up so that you guys can see the finished product. It's not quite done yet. I add some shadowing and stuff and more scratches and add some more texturing and plates to the side. Like you can see, I'm just copying and pasting areas from the parts I already textured. That way I don't have to texture it again. And then I'm just adding it on, and I'm going to add some more of those metal staples or whatever they are supposed to be. There's probably a term for that. I was thinking about Frankenstein when I was making the skin. You know how he has these stitches and the bolts? The things that Frankenstein's monster are known for. Well, I was like, how would we do that with whatever these characters are made of? And they're like some heavy-duty plastic and metal and fur, so it made sense in my mind. You know, I'm just learning that this whole process, I was just sort of like willy-nilly just adding things, which I think works because of what the actual thing was asking for, but me trying to explain it later is just like, oh yeah, I just did that just because. Like, I have no rhyme or reason for why I did it, I just felt like it would look nice. Like this part, where I am wrapping wires around the head of the Miscreation, so it's gonna sit on top of the hat layer and float there. Like, that sounds really weird, right? Out of context, it would make absolutely no sense whatsoever. But, like, you can kind of see what I'm doing. It's like wiring and piping. Maybe it's got some, like, hydraulic fluid or something. I don't know. I'm not actually... I don't actually know how animatronics work. A lot of the actual animatronics are hydraulic, actually. Not the old ones. I think they were just, like, pistons. and things. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to teach you about animatronics. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab the actual end skin here. And you'll see in a second here I add on the ears. Again, the actual plush trap ear would have been much smaller. But I just settled on making it the yellow, the same yellow as the skin. That way it's a different color. And I went in and shaded it. And that's about it. So let me go ahead. I've said it like 3 times now. I'm gonna grab the skin, put it on a model, and take a screenshot so you guys can see the end result here. Alright, and here is our end result. This thing is creepy, which is good, I guess, because that's what it was supposed to be, but it makes me realize that's probably why there's not much, if any, official art. If there is official art, I haven't seen it, so that's probably why it doesn't look like this. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this speed paint, even though I didn't really talk about anything except for the actual, like, process of the speed paint. It turned out interesting, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Alright, I'll talk to you next time. Bye!